Welcome everybody to the Chamber Luncheon for January. We're glad that you're here. Thank you so much. We wanted to recognize our presenting sponsor for today's luncheon, which is Premier Bone and Joint. Would like to welcome Tom Wolf to the stage for a few comments.
So if you watch NFL football on the weekend, you'll see Matthew Stafford in a pizza commercial that says, "I am not a walking billboard." Me neither. Thanks to everyone for showing up. Thank you for letting us do this presentation. Premier Bone and Joint has continued to grow over the last few years, and we've been fortunate enough in the last 3 Septembers, this year, last year, and the one before that, we've added a new physician to our group. In this past September, we've added Dr. John Horberg, who's guilty for putting a new shoulder in me. I wanted to let you get a chance to get to know him a little bit better, so I'm going to turn the program over to Dr. Horberg. Thank you.
If Tom complains of any pain, it's not my fault. So hi, I'm John Horberg and the newest guy at Premier, and Tom asked me to kind of talk about the group, and the way I thought I would do that was talking about how I got here, how I chose to work for Premier, and talk a little bit about subspecialization in orthopedics. So I'm going to be looking over my shoulder because I guess I don't have a screen here in front of me, but I'm from Central Illinois, born and raised on a little farm. In college, I met this nice girl from Northern Wyoming, and then went to medical school, also in Central Illinois, married that same nice girl from Northern Wyoming. Traveled all around the Midwest for med school residency, did a fellowship to subspecialize, which is the key to the talk, I suppose, before starting practice back in Central Illinois, and quickly saw the light, maybe due to that nice girl from Northern Wyoming, and here I am, and couldn't be happier about it. So the thing I want to talk about is specialization in medicine, specifically orthopedics. For the longest time, for centuries, there was no specialists, there was just physicians. By the early 1900s, there was the first subdivision in medicine was between surgeons and non-surgeons. By point in the right direction. By the next century, even the specialty of surgery has become subdivided into multiple different specialties, all that had their own 5 to 7 year surgical education program after medical school. Medicine got a lot more complicated and detailed, more technology, more nuance to the specialty. And by 2023, even orthopedics, the hammer swingers and carpenters have 10 fellowship training programs that are recognized by the ABOS and accredited, all requiring an additional year of training after your residency to specialize in. And what I think that indicates is the age of general orthopedics is slowly coming to a close. Orthopedics in itself, just like every other specialty in medicine, is so broad, advanced, nuanced. There's so much technology that it's difficult for any single provider to provide the highest level cutting edge care across the breadth of orthopedics. And that's why we see the rise of the subspecialist. And that brings me to why I started working for Premier. When I was looking for a place to move in Wyoming, again, because of that nice girl from Northern Wyoming, Premier popped out to me because it's a group of subspecialists. All my partners are fellowship trained subspecialists across the breadth of orthopedics. We provide care in every different corner and nuance of orthopedics at the highest level because everyone's subspecialty trained in their small corner of orthopedics. We do that across the state of Wyoming, including our office in the bottom right here in town, where I was seeing patients this morning. So where do I fit in? I'm the joint replacement specialist. Most of my practice is hip and knee replacement, shoulder replacement. The bulk of it is primary, meaning the first time somebody's had that surgery done. I have a special interest in the minimally invasive anterior approach, as well as robotics and x-ray guidance and live imaging during surgery to give the patient the best outcome. Being the joint specialist, though, I'm also the one that redoes the joints when they go wrong. If there's a fall, a fracture, a break, the joint fails or becomes infected. I also do a fair bit of teaching. my old job was an academic job, so I taught residents and fellows. I still get asked to travel around the country and give lectures or teach surgical techniques. And Premier has been nice enough to allow me to have surgeons come into Wyoming and watch me operate as well. Hopefully we can help educate the next generation of surgeons here in the state. I'm hoping to be affiliated with the university as well with time. So where do we go from here? You know, my goal is to have patients stop feeling like they need to leave the state. Our group and all my partners agree is full of subspecialists. We can handle the breadth of orthopedics here in the state. And I want Wyoming to be a, excuse me, a destination for joint replacement specifically for me, as well as the other subspecialty type procedures we perform. There's institutions like Vail, University of Utah, Colorado, other places where it's considered a destination. People travel there, spend time there, stay in hotels, eat in restaurants, and have their surgery done. And I think that's something that's feasible for Southern Wyoming. And then finally, I wanted to live in a place that I was gonna be proud to raise my family, that was an exciting community to live in and a place that I could serve. So thank you all for a couple minutes of your time, and I hope it wasn't too terribly boring.
Well, thank you, sir. And we're certainly glad you're in God's country as well. So like to thank our gold sponsor, Little America. We'd also like to thank our bronze sponsors, Burns Insurance, Safe Harbor, a Children's Justice Center. We want to thank you guys for your generous sponsorships. So as this year has come to a close for me, this is unfortunately my last time up here. Have loved it, had enjoyed it, learned a lot, met a lot of great people, and so I'm very appreciative for my time as the chair of the board. But it's now my duty to pass the gavel to our new incoming chair, Ms. Paula Poitras, for the 2023 appointee voluntold position. So we definitely appreciate Paula. So please welcome Paula Poitras to the stage for the gavel pass. See where, oh, yep, there it is. So every year we do a little quote, and my quote for Miss Paula is grace and truth. So thank you for you. Thank you for all that you do, and good luck. Now.
That's going to fall over. Oh, yes, voluntold. Thank you. No, it's actually my privilege to get to do this. So thank you all for the support that I have in the community and just at my office and my company and things like that. And so it's a great honor to be here. So I now want to recognize Stephen. You have to come back up as the outgoing chair of the chamber for his service. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we have a few outgoing board members that I'd like to recognize as well. Stephen Leafgreen, if you're here, I know you're here, come forward, please. Dennis Humphrey, I don't know if I've seen Dennis. Dennis here, or Royce Fertig. No, okay, it's just you. So yeah, I'm really sad that this part of the band is leaving us. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen, for your service to our community. At this time, I'd like to introduce my executive board for 2023. So as I speak your name, please stand. Tanya Keller, my incoming chair and vice chairman of Action and Advocacy. Stephen Potades is outgoing chair. Bob Jensen, vice chairman of Economic Development. Steve Prescott, vice chairman of Membership and Fundraising. Alexis Garrett, Vice Chairman of Talent Development. I don't think Lexi's here. David Pope, the Money Man, Vice Chairman of Finance and Operations. I don't think I've seen David. And Dr. Heather Smith, Vice Chairman of Community Development. Is Heather here? This is an amazing group, and I appreciate all of them being willing to serve as well. So at this time, I would like to ask Irene Parsons with Express Employment Professionals and Red Carpet Committee to come forward to introduce our new members for January.
Hello and Happy New Year, everybody. As Paula mentioned, I'm Irene Parsons. I'm business developer for Express Employment Professionals, and I'm also a member of the Red Carpet Committee of the Greater Cheyenne Chamber of Commerce. And the Red Carpet Committee members are all of us wearing red to the chamber luncheons and other chamber events. We are ambassadors of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're also known as the Welcoming Committee. Our committee hosts ribbon cuttings to welcome new members. We learn about their business and make connections. We present the Beautification Awards a few times a year to those who improve the sights of Cheyenne. And we help with chamber luncheons, introducing new members to all of you. If you're interested in learning more about the Red Carpet Committee, you can see one of us wearing red or talk to Mary Jane. Today we have 6 new members to announce, and we're going to start off with Luxury Lane Fashion Boutique. And Monica Oliveri is CEO, and she's also here with her mother, Alice Curtis. And Luxury Lane Fashion Boutique, stay up to date on the latest fashions. Luxury Lane Fashion Boutique offers ladies' fashions anywhere from small to 3X at the local shop located at 408 West 17th. You can also shop online, and you can call and arrange a pickup. Monica says that she's very flexible. She's always willing to help out and make arrangements. So we just did a ribbon cutting there, and it was pretty neat to see all the stuff there. So stop in at 408 West 17th Street, Luxury Lane Fashion Boutique. Welcome to the chamber. Our next one is Patio Splash. That is Rick Smith and Matt Snyder. Today, we have Matt Snyder. He's the sales rep for Patio Splash, which was founded by Rick Smith in 2014 and opened its first store here in Cheyenne, focused first and foremost on the customer and delivering exceptional service from start to finish from Cheyenne-based employees. Patio Splash is a Bullfrog authorized dealer and carries other hot tub brands, including Viking and Clearwater brand spas. Patio Splash is not only a hot tub dealer, but also provides full service for each hot tub they sell, as well as a full complement of chemicals and equipment. So Patio Splash, welcome to the chamber. Our next new member today is Team Referral Network. We have Stephanie Flanders Martin, who is the franchise owner, and Christy Williams. Team Referral Network is a business referral organization that provides networking with local professionals growing their businesses through relationship marketing. Their professional network is centered around relationships built on trust, integrity, and strong ethical standards. They are a positive group of like-minded business professionals that understand the dynamic power of referral and relationship marketing. They believe that when people work as a team, together everyone achieves more. Welcome to the chamber, Team Referral Network. Next, we have Stage Point Federal Credit Union. Today we have with us Denise Deem and Jake Anfinson. They are the Marketing and Business Development Officer and Chief Lending Officer. They are a federal credit union located in Laramie, but they do a lot of business here. They are focused on a better future since 1935, a trusted financial partner. They know your life has many stages. At each critical stage, the Stage Point team understands your needs and how to turn your goals into realities. Stage Point serves 7 counties in Wyoming and 4 counties in Colorado. as a leader in low loan rates and offering special products to those who serve and educate, as well as specializing in youth accounts that include youth loans for young entrepreneurs. At StagePoint, they are working for you to point the way to a better financial future. StagePoint Federal Credit Union, welcome to the chamber. Next, we have Palma Land Planning with Casey Palma and Lee Martin are the owners. And Palma Land Planning is an experienced professional planning and design firm with diverse experience in both private sector and public projects of every scale. From neighborhood master plans to multifamily residential projects or individual commercial sites, Casey and his team pride themselves on innovative solutions to development challenges. The certified and registered professionals at Palma Land Planning are trained and equipped to provide the expertise and attention required to achieve the project vision, enhance the community, and deliver success for anyone who develops, owns, or maintains commercial, residential, recreational, or industrial properties. Palma Land Planning, welcome to the chamber. And our sixth new member today is Saving Grace Automotive. We have Jennifer Ballesteros and Jeremiah Ballesteros here today. Saving Grace Automotive is owned by Jennifer and Jeremiah, and they've been in business in Cheyenne for 10 years, but have 22 years experience as a technician. A mobile auto repair shop that has a radius of 50 miles. They service brake repairs, including air brakes, tune-ups, steering and suspension, electrical, engine diagnostics. They can work on foreign and domestic vehicles, including commercial, as well as agricultural equipment. Welcome to the chamber. And that is our new members for today's luncheon.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see everyone here in 2023. I hope you're all looking forward to a great year. We had a great 22. And, we have so much to be thankful for, and we are so blessed in this part of the country. I want to share a quote with you from a friend of mine who just retired out of the chamber industry. And he was sitting around listening to a bunch of us chamber execs gripe at a meeting we call U.S. Chamber of Commerce Committee of 100. We're all kind of whining about the environment and what was going on. And he looked right at us and he said, let me tell you guys something. He said, what you do is either worth it, and you get up every day and you drive forward with more people and more money and you work for your community, or shut up, sit down, quit, and do something else. Right? He put it just like that. And I think there's a lot. That was in Gene's way, but there's a lot of wisdom in that, right? What are we going to do this year? Are we going to keep pushing, keep growing, keep expanding our businesses, keep having hope for the future, or not? I think, Cheyenne, we can be very thankful that we have continued to push forward, right? We had a great 23. I want to share with you that we just did a membership drive in December, and we raised $117,000 in less than 9 hours. That's because of you, right? So everyone who participated with that, I won't make you put your hands up or do push-ups, but I would like you to stand up and let us recognize you. I know a lot of you are here. Tim, I see Tim and Steve sitting right there, but please stand up if you participated in our membership event in December. So what I'm really proud about that is that a few years ago, Casper Chamber of Commerce raised $113,000. So they asked me how much I wanted to raise. I said I want to raise $113,001. Yeah. So we did much better than that. And I appreciate it, because just like what I just said, we have to have money and people and effort moving forward. And your chamber is committed to continuing to press down that path as we move forward. Good to have our new superintendent here. But I'm going to talk about somebody you have with you. So Dickie, it is so good to have you back. Glad to have you back, brother. Dickie is a friend of this chamber. We have worked on many, many, many business issues as city council, at the state. Good to see you. Thanks for being here today. Well, we got that little thing called the legislature coming up. So keep watch on your emails. We'll have our same reporting out every week where we're tracking a bunch of the bills and sharing with you what bills we are working on from the business community. So you'll get that link. You won't get one today, but by next week, you'll have it. Call us with any questions. We meet every Tuesday to talk about these bills during session at the chamber offices. You're welcome to come at noon and visit about something that you're interested in. Additionally, we got a lot of new national partners and tiered members off of our membership drive. So one of the things we do is we go to Washington, D.C. every year. We had planned to go in January. We put that off a bit. We're working on an April date. So if you're one of those tiered members, or if you just think you might be interested learning about what we do with a consultant in DC, how we fund Cheyenne, things like roads, Front Range Rail, F.E. Warren Air Force Base, the National Guard. We're working on C-130s, aren't we, General? We're going to keep plugging on that till we get that problem done, right? Please watch that and participate with us as you can. All right, free lunch drawing. So Lori Shaney, you have a bone to pick with Bob Jensen. He drew your card out and I don't know why he said, no, I don't like that one. So you get on him. All right. So Lori Shaney, if you please talk to my staff and we'll get you your free lunch. Six 5595. Everybody's clapping. Do we have a winner? Yeah. But there you go. I hope that lottery ticket hits for like the 7 billion, right? Just a couple of quick items for you. So we do have a business after hours on the 19th at the Villa at Cottonwood Creek. So look forward to seeing you, a bunch of you there. And then we do have a special event at the new Subaru dealership here in Cheyenne. So Holidays has really built an incredible new building. Make sure you make plans to come in and check that out. Thank you so much, everyone, and we look forward to 2023. Give us a call if you need something from us.
Thank you so much, Dale. Always inspiring. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce our speaker for today's luncheon. It is no secret to anyone in the business community that workforce is one of our primary issues. Your chamber works diligently on this issue, but in order to make real progress, we must have meaningful partnerships to solve the workforce talent issue. Today's speaker is an important hinge-pin to solving the workforce challenge. As a new superintendent of public instruction, we look forward to partnering to ensure the future talent needs of our state. Please join me as we welcome Megan Degenfelder to visit with us about how business and education can work together to equip our children and fully embrace the future of our state.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you to Dale, Paula, the entire chamber team for having me here today. I have always loved being a part of the Chamber of Commerce in any community across the state that I've lived, and actually served on the Chamber Board up in Gillette for some time. What better way to close out my first week in office than with visiting with the business community about my vision and plans? For those of you who do not know me, I grew up in Casper. I come from a family that's been ranching in this state for 6 generations and been working in the oil and gas business for 3 generations. Growing up in Casper, I'm a product of Wyoming Public Schools, the University of Wyoming, and I hold a master's degree in economics. And I was fortunate enough to build a successful life and career here in my home state. And that's why I'm so passionate about this job, to ensure that we're providing those same opportunities, better opportunities for future generations. All too often, we're told that our children are leaving this state, that our industries are dying, but we can and we will create opportunities for them to have successful futures right here in Wyoming. My career has primarily been within the private sector, like many of you. I worked in Gillette for one of the nation's leading coal producers, and most recently for an oil and gas operator in the Carbon and Sweetwater counties. In both of those roles, my sole responsibility was to fight back against government overreach and harmful regulations. In education, I worked under previous Superintendent Jillian Balo in the cabinet level position of Chief Policy Officer, where I worked to reduce our budgets, consolidate staff, and we partnered with the legislature to update the state's educational basket of goods for the first time in 20 years to include computer science. So having spent time in both the private sector as well as education, I know firsthand just how often government lags behind the speed and innovation of business and industry. The number one goal, the number one challenge in our education system is preparing kids to be responsible citizens with good jobs. And the economy that they're entering is more dynamic and more competitive than ever. We must adapt our education system, and we must address workforce preparedness and job shortages, as well as other challenges that your businesses and industries face. Because without a skilled workforce, our communities do not survive. Today, I'd like to discuss 2 facets of my role as state superintendent. The first is as the leader of the State Department of Education, and the second is one of the 5 statewide elected officials. At the department, I bring 3 main priorities from the campaign trail. The first is parental empowerment. To me, that means making sure that our parents are engaged in their child's education and they have as many choices as possible so that they can best meet the needs of their individual student. As an economist, I know that in any system, whether it's the traditional marketplace or in education, more choices lead to better outcomes for all. And parental empowerment also means increasing transparency and access to information for our family and communities. Second is better preparing kids for jobs. It is my goal to significantly improve the relationship between education and business and industry, with a greater focus on career pathways, exposure to Wyoming jobs, and attainment of soft skills and certificates before they even leave the high school doors. This also means including more of you, more of our business community on boards, on workforces, on committees that are integral in the direction that we move our education system. And my third priority is getting government out of the classroom, from political agendas and bias to reducing bureaucratic red tape. If our children are being exposed to political agendas and bias, then our American education system crumbles. The key is transparency and a commitment to address these bias as they arise. And as for reducing bureaucracy, I believe it is the role of the state to make it as easy as possible for our teachers to teach and for those resources to get straight to the students. It will be a priority for me to look at ways that we can be more efficient for our districts and for our teachers. When I served at the department under Superintendent Balo, I know what a great working relationship she had with you, Dale, and the entire organization. And I'm committed to carrying on during my term. As I previously mentioned, that career and technical education piece, those internships, exposures with your companies and other Wyoming jobs will be a significant part of our work at the department. My role on the UW Board of Trustees, as well as the Wyoming Community College Commission, will help to coordinate our workforce efforts at the post-secondary level. My first few months in office, we'll be focusing a lot on the upcoming legislative session, as well as building out on the initiatives that are currently in place. There's a lot of exciting work being done for this legislative session and a lot of exciting bills as they relate to education. The Purple Star Bill relating to our schools is critical for communities like Cheyenne to make sure that our students are supported. There are also many bills in the hopper around parental empowerment, around charter schools and school choice, and I'm very excited to be a part of those and working hand in hand with our other branches of government. Over the last several years, we've made great strides in career technical education from that traditionally known voc ed. The Department of Education has partnered with local school districts to create career pathways for students, certificate options, and we've updated the Hathaway Scholarship so that not only can CTE courses apply for Hathaway, but the Hathaway Scholarship itself can be used for certificate programs within our institutions of higher learning. Not to mention our Perkins 5 grant, our federal grant related to CTE, was reauthorized in 2018 to expand funding for CTE education and to allow for states to have more authority in how we execute those funds. The department also developed a career development course for our counselors to make sure that they're on the ground level, making sure that our kids are moving in the right direction. And we've also increased externship opportunities for CTE teachers, especially here in Laramie County. We have CTE teachers that are taking time to work and to understand our local businesses and their industry, to work for them at no cost to the employers, and to understand what those changing dynamics are as we look to update our education system. All this groundwork is very important because it leaves us at a very exciting time to now go above and beyond and expand career education like we've never done before. I'm very excited to expand those career pathways, make sure that we're identifying them for kids at an even younger age, and that we're utilizing that state plan to make sure that the state of Wyoming is in charge of how our funds are distributed, not the federal government. Shifting gears to my role on the State Loan and Investment Board and the State Board of Land Commissioners. I'm really excited to be the only economist and private sector employee with recent, extensive, and multi-state experience in our state's largest revenue generating industry. I will use this experience to ensure that our decisions as electeds meet the fiduciary responsibility to maximize funds in perpetuity, whether they be to the common school or to the beneficiaries of our investment income. I also want to recognize again my Chief of Staff, Dickie Shaner, who is here with me today and brings a wealth of knowledge, not only from his experience previously at the Department of Education here in Wyoming, but Virginia, and also as a previous city council member right here in Cheyenne. His experience with local governments and economic development will be invaluable as I address these roles. There will be a lot of politics at play, especially when it comes to Wyoming Business Council projects, but I'm committed to taking a professional and pragmatic look at each and every proposal. As an economist, I'm not interested in choosing arbitrary winners and losers. We'll make sure that decisions are made based on business merits and data, and I'll rely on experts like you all in this room as I navigate those decisions. With that, I'm so very appreciative of the opportunity to speak with you all today. Education issues are community issues, and every single person in the state is a stakeholder in education. I look forward to bridging the gap between all of these stakeholders and to working with all of you to make sure that we address our workforce shortage and that our students are prepared for a modern workforce. Thank you. Thank you. I think we have a few minutes, Dale, is that correct? That I could take some questions from the floor? Yes.
Working. Here it is. Ding, ding, ding. Nick Kemp here. Megan, thanks for your time. I was wondering if you could speak to your experience in Casper growing up, having more educational liberty there and the value that you gleaned from that.
Sure. Thanks, Nick. That's a great question. And also would applaud all of your work that you're doing to achieve greater school choice in Wyoming and here in Cheyenne. Growing up in Casper, that's really the only district that allows complete school choice within a school district. And growing up, I really remember vividly as a junior high student, going to each of the schools with my family and talking to teachers, learning about programs, and feeling empowered to make the decision of which school, which building, which program best met my needs. That was a really incredible experience. And I remember thinking that that was the norm. That's what every child all across the state and country experienced. And so when we talk about school choice, we've hardly even touched the surface. Here in Cheyenne, we of course still have neighborhood schools. I just think that that decision, that empowerment for parents, for families, for anyone, as I mentioned before, as an economist, we know that greater choices lead to greater outcomes. And so I'm really excited to dive right into that. I want to work with local school districts all across the state to find how we enhance choices for kids. We have virtual education options now. Charter schools are an exciting new option in Wyoming. And so great question. That's something that influences me every day and I think is important for our state.
Thank you. Superintendent Dagenfelder, the revenue picture for Wyoming looks really good this year with, commodity prices for things like oil and gas being very strong. So the state anticipates some large one-time monies. Do you have a vision or a preference on how you'd like to see some of those dollars either spent or saved to benefit any various educational pursuits?
That's a great question. Thank you, Senator. One that comes to mind that the interim committees have already been discussing are CTE grants. I think that is tremendous. Our school districts are at capacity in many ways with their career technical education. I think that's very important. There's other initiatives I'd like to look at around teacher retention and recruitment. That's a big issue that we face in the state right now. We're losing teachers, particularly CTE teachers. And so we've got to look at ways to address that shortage, as well as mental health, as well as early literacy and looking at early childhood and just getting creative about that. So I think there's a lot of things that we can discuss. I'm really looking forward to that and working with the legislature.
I am wondering if there's any consideration being put toward magnet schools in Wyoming.
Not that I'm familiar with or have worked tremendously on, but I've said any option, we'll look at that, turning over that rock and see if it fits for Wyoming.
And wouldn't they serve a greater purpose for public education versus charter schools that are privately owned?
So one thing that's actually a common misnomer is that our charter schools are not public. The charter schools that have been authorized, they are public charter schools. That means that they receive state funds, but they also have to take the state assessment. They're held to that accountability. And so what's really exciting about the charter schools in our state is that it is a public option with public accountability, but it gives a different choice and a different way of doing things, different policies and board in order to achieve that.
Hi, Superintendent. Tim Shepard with the Wyoming Veterans Commission and then also with the Hunger Initiative. My question is about the hunger and hunger in the school and what your thoughts are on how we can address that and its impacts on our kids today.
Great question. As you're all aware, if our kids are not healthy, if they haven't had a meal before they go to school, we can't expect them to learn and to provide increasing outcomes. And so it's one thing that we're really going to be looking at. I'm excited to meet with the First Lady soon I think one issue that's become apparent are those kids that are falling through the cracks that might not be identified for those traditional funding streams, but to make sure that through the First Ladies Initiative, through the generosity of our Wyoming people, that we can stand up a program that feeds our kids.
Pete Illaway. One of the problems that I see in education, and I'm far away from children and so forth in schools, but the teachers are having a hard time living in Wyoming because of housing. And if there's anything you can do to talk to JEC and say, hey, the governor wanted to put in some money for housing, and JEC said no. I think there's $15 million of ARPA funds. I serve on WCDA board in Casper. But I think that you need to take a look at why are teachers leaving? And I can tell you in one school district where my grandchildren are, and especially in Sublette County, the housing is so expensive that teachers can't afford to buy a house or to live there. And they're having a hard time keeping teachers in that particular school district. I suspect it goes on throughout the rest of the state.
Absolutely. There's many communities with that issue. I was in Teton County this summer and we discussed how no matter how many billionaires are in a community, if you don't have teachers, first responders, that community does not exist. And so we want to make sure that we do have teachers in our communities. And so every community is going to look a little bit different. And so actually tomorrow we're going to be coming out with an announcement, a call for participants in a teacher retention and recruitment task force that will go statewide. We're not wasting any time on this issue. Because every community is different, we're going to look at any and all options to solve this critical issue as well. Of course, as an economist, supply and demand, incentives, they matter. We want to look at that and make sure our teachers are taken care of as we've slipped below other states and what we're providing to teachers, but also that support piece for teachers. How are we taking care of them in their first few years of teaching? What other issues are keeping them from entering the field? And so housing is absolutely a part of that we'll be looking at. Some communities are looking at teacher housing projects. It'll be interesting to see how we look at, state land development. There are a lot of different options I think we can look at, but I'm absolutely committed to solving this problem.
A lot of people have been talking about the fact that the school year gives you 3 months off when you're a kid. Wouldn't it make more sense to have a longer school year? Because business, people work and their kids have to be kept busy. And plus, if they're not going to school all summer, they will lose much of their education. So I wonder just how your comments are on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the good news is I think we have a couple of school board members, and the calendar really is determined by local school boards that then if they have an alternative calendar, they'll go to the state board for approval. But it's an interesting question. And I think something we should always be looking at, as we saw through the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, Wyoming kids spent more time in their classroom than any other kids across the country. That's a good thing. That's shown up in our national results. And so, I think that's what's exciting about this time. I think we can really get innovative after the pandemic and think about how are we best preparing kids for their future. I think sometimes, and this might be coming from the private sector, we've almost created this monster in education. And we forget sometimes, what are we really trying to achieve? For me, it's making sure that they have jobs, that they're successful once they leave those doors. And I think every time and every issue, if we look at it from that lens, we're going to make improvements to education.
Hi, Megan. Amanda Clutty, Chase Bank. So one of the things is we really focus on getting them out into the world and having these careers, but then they come into the bank, and I'm with Chase, and they don't know how to do a budget. They don't know how to save their money. When we think about high school and getting them prepared to enter real life and real world, what are your thoughts on financial literacy?
Yes, that's a great point. I've always been very passionate about financial literacy. I was actually part of the inception of YO Town in Casper, which brings all elementary students of certain grades to learn about financial literacy, to learn what it means to be a good citizen. I think that those soft skills paired with civics education is going to be a very high priority for me. I want to make sure, again, that when our students are leaving, that they're ready for jobs. That's what we're trying to do here. And so, it's going to take a lot of work because we have to rethink our assessments, which don't assess for a lot of those soft skills. We're really going to have to be creative in that. But I think we've shown through the Governor's Right Initiative, through the State Board of Education's Profile of a Graduate, the community wants their students to come out with those financial literacy skills, with soft skills. And so now we need leadership in the state to take that information that you all provided and make changes, put it to work. And that's exactly what I plan to do. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here and hopefully to come back to report on what I've accomplished.
Thank you so much, Megan. That was fantastic and just great information. And thank you all for attending today and happy 2023. Have a great rest of your day.